BT's infrastructure is a backbone of business, connecting companies and communities, and providing vital data communications that allow work to be done. General Manager Luke Beeson talks about the very real issues posed by metal theft and the steps BT has taken to address them.
Crime is a factor for business. Whatever form it may take, wherever it might originate, crime and its potential impact will have been thought about and measures put in place to protect your business. That's certainly the case in BT with respect to metal theft, as over the past 6 or 7 years, a sharp rise in the price of metals like copper and lead has driven an increase in thefts of BT assets. It started mostly with raids on our engineering locations, where new cable was being stored. Our engineering centre in Ayr was subjected to 2 audacious ram raids in 1 year. Fortunately, on both occasions, the culprits were arrested by police, but as we started to enhance the physical security of sites like these, the criminals turned their attention to cable in our network. The problem then became a very much bigger concern, because malicious damage to the network has an impact on service to customers. With BT's network in the UK being used by over 500 other communications providers, it's not just BT's own customers that can be affected. As criminals don't know or care what services or traffic is being carried by cables they steal, the effect can be indiscriminate and very serious. It's at this point that the problem becomes an issue for those that depend on communications for their livelihood, or to protect their own life or the lives of others. We've seen complete communities isolated, with local shops and businesses unable to trade, elderly and vulnerable residents left without telephone or broadband access, and even emergency services like ambulances having to be stationed on street corners to provide cover until connection could be restored. And on the subject of emergency services, theft of cable from our network has caused the loss of communications to Coast Guard services, compromised the integrity of the National Air Traffic Control Service, and impacted Police Airwaves' secure radio communications. To combat this escalating problem, BT established a dedicated task force. This metal theft task force is made up of 40 people and is following a strategy to mitigate the impact cable theft is having on our business, our customers. Hardening the physical security of the network to deter and prevent successful attacks, and also deploying Smart Water, the invisible paint that forensically tags anyone that comes into contact with it. Gathering intelligence from every incident location and working with law enforcement agencies to target criminals. By teaming up with the charity Crime Stoppers, we've also encouraged members of the public to get involved by reporting suspicious activity around our network. Disrupting the market for stolen metal through direct action with scrap metal dealers, and by pressing government to toughen the regulation of the scrap metal industry. Scotland accounted for 7.5% of total incidents seen across BT's UK network last year. In the past year, over 20,000 customers of all types in Scotland who rely on the BT network have lost their service. This service feeds telephones, broadbands and other businesses and public services. Some of these customers have suffered repeat attacks on their phone lines. Most of Scotland's geography has been affected, and the scale and impact of attacks is becoming larger as organised criminal gangs are moving in, often masquerading as legitimate BT workers or contractors. Thankfully, due to the BT Metal Theft Task Force and our partners in law enforcement, we are seeing Scotland fight back. Police are receiving more intelligence from vigilant members of the public, so the level of detection and arrests have been increased. Partnership working has also been key to making the lives of cable thieves harder. The Scottish Environmental Protection Agency, SEPA, Fire Service, Openreach and utility providers have come together through the Scottish Business Crime Centre to share best practice and highlight this very real problem to government and the courts. Major stolen cable processing sites have been identified throughout the country, which in turn is making this crime more difficult to profit from each day. Work has also been done with the scrap metal recyclers by communicating concerns and engaging with them to keep the industry aware of stolen metals, as well as recovering stolen assets found on their premises. Sometimes the damage caused by cable thieves is so severe that it takes days and quite often a week or more to restore service. For individuals, this can at the very least be inconvenient. For the elderly and most vulnerable in society, it can be frightening and in some cases life-threatening. For businesses, and in particular small businesses, being unable to operate normally for even a short period of time can carry heavy financial and brand reputational risks. In one incident, an international brand lost all service to a call centre and had to divert calls and staff to an alternative location elsewhere in the country. Many organisations are now factoring cable theft into their business continuity planning. Have you thought about how long you can sustain a loss of communications with your customers, your suppliers, and even your own people? Do you have a plan to cope? The time to plan is now, and not when a problem may strike. However, I can assure you that the BT Metal Theft Task Force in Scotland is fully committed to doing all it can to reduce the risk to our business and your business from further disruption at the hands of cable thieves.